Ahoy VC, welcome to the Personal Oasis. This is the Blind Island. I'm your host Isaac, and today we're going to be going through my top 10 favorite albums in 2020. Now here's a caveat. The albums that are going to be listed here are not necessarily all from 2020. In fact, only 2 albums here are from the year 2020. I find that there is a glut of contemporary music. It's super hard to keep up with everything that's coming out. So I usually wait until the end of the year for a lot of people to give me recommendations about what was good this year. Because I usually find that there's a lot of mediocre music and I'm waiting for the right recommendations to come along. And I love so much stuff in the past, and there's a glut of things to be listened to from the past. So usually my favorite albums are albums that have come out from a while back. But yeah, I just want to reveal what was really hitting the turntable. A few of the albums that I was obsessed with were already mentioned in my top 25 finds of 2020. I'll include a link to that in the description below. But let's get started with the list here. First one is a folk blues album by Tom Griffin Winslow, Interoctaves. Now this is a private press recording. It is apparently very difficult to come across, found in an antique store. Tom Griffin Winslow was a student of Reverend Gary Davis, and from my research he did not come out with a lot of music. But man, is it smooth. It's nice for fans of Mississippi John Hurt, Reverend Gary Davis, and just that nice mix of folk and blues. You're going to love what you hear on this album. I am going to include a snippet of Stagger Lee because I think that is just one of the best renditions of that song I have ever heard.
Everybody but Stagger Lee, that old bad man, oh cruel Stagger Lee. Billy the Lions told Stagger Lee, please don't take my life. I got 2 little babies.
Next, I have the Jimmy Castor Bunch, It's Just Begun. This is just a solid slab of fried funk. My God, is this such a great album. From start to finish, it makes you want to dance, it makes you want to groove. And there are moments on here that are just full of thick beats. And the big hit, Troglodyte, is also on here, Caveman. I had heard that song before, but I had never listened to the full album, and oh my gosh, it is just one that I can't get enough of. I love this record. I love everything about it. It's full of sinewy, flexing, muscular funk, and if you're a fan of kind of that southern style, and you're gonna find a lot to love here. This is a fantastic record, and I highly recommend it for any fan of funk music. Next, this is one of the albums from 2020 that I really couldn't get enough of, and that's Colter Wall, Western Swing and Waltzes, and other punchy songs. Colter Wall is one of the best country singers on the scene right now. He's only 27, I want to say, but he sounds like an old man. Just this really nice timbre of voice that sounds like it's from the bottom of his stomach. Super intense. He sounds like he has seen everything that he sings about, and he paints big, broad strokes of Western lifestyle. He doesn't necessarily romanticize it, but he brings a rough grittiness that is very realistic to the music. I'm going to include a little snippet of what he sounds like, so if any of you haven't gotten on board with the Colter Wall train yet, you really need to. Next I have Sam Russo, Greyhound Dreams. This album came out in 2015, and this is from a UK singer-songwriter. He has a little bit more of an emo punk streak to his sound, and it really took me back to my college days. Very heart on your sleeve type lyrics, and this was a complete blind buy. I had no idea what I was going to be getting. It was $5 at a local record store, but I just slowly started bringing me in more and more with his sound, and I just found myself falling in love with this guy and in love with this album. I have used this to get through a lot of difficult nights, and it just continues to bring me lots of comfort. I'm going to include another little sound snippet so that you can get a taste of what this fantastic, miraculous singer-songwriter is like.
You don't mean nothing to me. You don't mean nothing to me. Yeah, they're gonna say what they say. Whatever I do and wherever I dream. She meant nothing to me. She meant nothing to me. And yeah, this town is on now. Sideways looks and fair weather enemy.
Next, I have Leslie Stevens' Sinner. This is beautiful, waxy, cosmic country. I love this album. It has been, according to Spotify, I streamed 12 Feet High the most out of any song this year, and for good reason. It is such a good song. It's so dang catchy. I can't get enough of it, and it's full of music that points back to yesteryear while pushing you forward into the future. This is for fans of that cosmic country, spacey country sound. If you like Casey Musgraves, but like it a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more traditional, this is going to be right up your alley. I love, love, love this album, and definitely one of the best of 2019. Came out last year, just missing out on the 2020 marker. And next is a punk rock album, something I don't really show on the channel all that much, and that's the Cat Burglars, self-titled. They only came out with this one record, came out in 2017. It's a very scant LP, a really punk, sitting at only 19 minutes, but oh my gosh, kicks you in the teeth. Love how much energy and veracity these guys have, and it has an amateurish nature that really endears you to their sound. Definitely doesn't pull you out of it. You can pick up copies of this for very cheap. They only came out with, I think, 500 copies on LP. They disbanded shortly after this, and it's a real shame because this is such a freaking phenomenal slab of garagey punk. I'm going to include a little snippet of what they sound like so that you can get a taste if you want to get burglarized by the Cat Burglars. And next, I have Darker My Love, Alive As You Are. This is, beautiful neo-psych. In the vein of the Byrds, younger than yesterday, and in the vein of the Notorious Byrd Brothers, very flowery and very introspective type of lyrics. I found myself just becoming obsessed with this album on Spotify. It was released in 2010, and getting harder to find copies of this. I bought it off of Walmart's website, actually, and I was so happy to just grab one copy of this because it's just one of my favorite neo-psych albums that I've been listening to this year, and one that really should be in any fan of psychedelic music. So great record from 2010. Then another album from 2020, I have the Budos Band, Long in the Tooth. I love the Budos Band. Everything that they come out with is really muscular funk, Afro beat, and I find myself really enjoying this album. It calls back and harkens back to their earlier material when they were a little bit more horn driven, and I just find myself coming back to this record, going back to the Budos Band on a frequent occasion because they're just so good at what they do. They constantly come out with quality work, and this is no exception. Fantastic record, highly recommended. Now, an honorable mention, I was unable to find this record, but it was the newest album by a group called Lettuce, and an incredible instrumental funk group that is just, you just need to listen to it. Go and stream it, go and get it, do whatever you need to do, but listen to this group. They definitely deserve to have some more praise. And my #1 album of the year, the one that basically reigned supreme over any other record that I streamed the most of, and that's Smile by the Beach Boys. This is initially intended to be released in 1967, 1968, but due to Brian Wilson's failing mental health and many other complications, it was shelved and was never properly released until 2011. And even though it is incomplete, it is one of the most beautiful sounding albums of all time. And this was the album that truly made me fall back in love with the Beach Boys. This was the year of the Beach Boys for me. And I had to just conclude my top albums in 2020 with The Obvious King. So guys, those were my favorite albums of the year. What did you think? What were your favorite records of the year? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I hope that you have a great night on your own personal oasis. Cheers.